I'm making a game about a man who got screwed over by a casino, the Golden Dragon Casino. Now you've got to cheat and gamble your way back to the top. This all started as a joke. First we're going to look at where the game's at now. At the moment you can play blackjack, you can count cards while playing blackjack. There's a slot machine that pays out big jackpots. There's also a spin the wheel, fruit wheel, I guess you could call it. There's also a weather system with rain and a full day-night cycle, so it's a little bit more dramatic when you're walking in and out of the casino and you've got no idea what it's like outside, just like in real life. There's also a boss because you're poor, and that's going to take you back to your house where you can heal up and whatever. There's also going to be dangerous ways to get back. You can also speak with NPCs and ask them literally anything, and that's because there's no dialogue programmed in at all. It's just all through OpenAI's API system. You give the NPCs traits and then you prompt them. All of the music is original. The song you're currently listening to is the main menu music. It's a banger. If you want to stay updated on the progress of the game, subscribe to Devlog on Patreon. I'll be posting a lot of stuff there and eventually a beta version of it for people to test out. And eventually I'm going to post the code for the Discord bot, which is what we'll talk about now, because the Golden Dragon Casino started as a Discord bot. We wanted to have some sort of economy in our Discord just because it's funny, and it evolved into a full-on casino because we needed to do something with our credits. So we called it social credit, and we made it a social credit system because that's really funny. One of the other ways to spend your social credit was with food, which is actually just a DALL-E prompt. It's more OpenAI API stuff. As basic prompt engineering, you could also do drinks as well. It just works whatever you type in into the prompt. So this is where the entire NPC system was born. I wanted there to be NPCs that were virtually in the casino with you, that were understanding what was happening and could interact with you with that context of what was going on. So whether you try again or you failed at the slot machine, they could say, we'll try again, or encourage you. Or if you won, they could say hooray. So my favorite character in the first one we ever worked on is called Mr. Lucky, and his entire purpose is he's sitting next to you at the slot machines and he just encourages you to keep spinning. No matter what you say to him, he's always going to divert back to spinning the reels. He's charming, he's lucky, and he's the mascot of the game. I even got shirts printed up with his face all over them, so if you want to leave me a comment, I'll make them available. I'm happy to report that he functions exactly the same in the game as he did in the Discord bot. Just keep spinning, my friend. This is thanks to a fully custom NPC system I built, where NPCs are spawned with generic parameters, or you can set them for specific characters. Here's Mr. Lucky, for instance. And then we've got another example here, which is the Beach Stalker and Larry France. So you can program in personalities for each one of them. You can even give them contextual information. Here, for example, the fruit wheel guy knows how much a fruit wheel costs, and he's going to try and convince you to play it. I was really excited when I got to this point. I took this screenshot. I was finally actually getting a response from OpenAI, and then it was time to actually build a game around it. So the slot machines was an obvious one, and I'd already made the code for the logic of the slot machine for the Discord bot. So I basically just had to translate that over and learn how GameMaker worked. And this was a really good exercise because there was a lot that I learned. I'd used GameMaker quite a bit when I was younger, but I'd always avoided the coding side of it. So the level design side of it was kind of easy to pick back up again. That's why in really early builds of the game, I've already sort of got a level because I needed something to work with. So first I learned how to spawn in objects and sprites and then interact with the things that you'd spawned in. And not long after that I had a fully functioning slot machine. I decided now was probably a good time to start adding sounds. Next I added a blackjack game, which involved a table and a big blackjack table to play on. It's actually a lot easier than it seems, although it was quite complicated getting the ace logic to work. Sometimes you would get 22 with 3 aces and stuff like that. Then I played around with the animations of the cards flipping over and coming onto the table, which I'm actually quite happy with. Also, when the cards are destroyed, there's this little puff of smoke. Then the way that the card deck works is there's actually 52 cards in each of these decks, and as the cards come out, the number goes down and those cards will never get pulled again. So it is technically possible to count cards while playing blackjack. Gets to about 25, I think. Then at the end of the round, the card deck will be replaced. And the backs of the decks are all different, and I kind of want there to be some sort of collectible system. Maybe some decks have like 10 aces in them or something, but I'm not too sure yet. Then at some point I added a fruit wheel, but I think it gets messy around here, I can't really remember. But one thing that the game really did need was a day-night cycle, because I want you to get that illusion of being in the casino and not knowing what time it was outside. I'm still working on the exact values of the day-night cycle, but it's around 10 minutes I think. The rain is randomly determined around the start of each hour, although I pushed it out of sync a little bit so it wasn't lining up exactly with the changing of the hour. At dawn and dusk there's sort of this orangey kind of filter, and at night there's a sort of blue filter to give that effect of nighttime. So the game world was looking a little bit bare, and one thing I really wanted to add was grass. So I followed a tutorial on how to actually add the grass using GPU. So there's a lot more grass than I could fit just with objects or sprites, and it runs really fast. And the cool thing is the depth works really well too with it. So the depth system is something of its own as well. I had to create a sort of a way of working where the player could walk in front of and behind of everything, and also the NPCs could walk in front of and behind everything. And the way I did that was just splitting up the layers, well, being really careful about the way that I split the layers. So I've got the background at about 15,000 depth I think, and then all of the objects are on the screen at 13,000 depth negative the Y value. And this system I was actually pretty proud of. Watching it in action is just really satisfying, especially when there was hundreds or however many NPCs on the screen at once, all in their position, flicking back and forward between them, and then you as the player can walk between them. It was just really satisfying. And now I wanted to flesh the game world out a little bit more, so I added a second screen and then a sort of government housing, and then a third screen which was the hallway inside the housing, and then a fourth screen which was your actual house. And the idea of the house is there was going to be free food and free stamina kind of thing, so there was a reason to come back to your house. But that means that we need a way now to get from the casino back to the house. So I created a bus system. And the bus system is cool because you just walk up to the bus sign, hit space, and then the bus comes along, picks you up, takes you to the other screen, drops you off at the bus stop there. You can then take that bus stop to get back. Now the bus always drives off the left side of the screen and then enters in on the right side of the screen. So it might be a little bit confusing at first, but when I add a map, it won't even matter. There's also a way to walk home, and I'm going to add some sort of debuff to it, but I'm not too sure yet. And speaking of debuffs, one of the latest features I've added into the game is status bars. So at the moment you've got fun, hunger, and stamina. Fun I'll get into later, but with hunger and stamina, hunger is essentially just going to kill you if you get to 0, whereas stamina is going to make you fall asleep, probably kick you out of the casino, get robbed, a bunch of other stuff like that, if you're not home or somewhere safe, like a hotel room. The fun bar, however, functions completely differently. If you're high on fun, then your guy is happy. If you're low on fun, then your guy is sad. And the way to get fun is by playing games, winning games, I guess eating, and other stuff like that. When you're outside in the rain, your fun meter drains faster, but if you've just had a jackpot a minute before, then it takes a little while longer for the fun meter to go down because you're happy. Now, because the time of the day won't be on screen in the final version of the game, I had to sort of help the player figure out what time of the day it was. So the latest feature I've added to the game is a shadow that moves around during the daytime, give the illusion of the sun rising in the east and setting in the west. There will be places in the game world where you can read the time, and I'm thinking of adding watches and stuff like that, but not yet. Hit subscribe if you want to stay up to date with the game. Join the Patreon if you want to help support development or become a channel member. It's $5 a month and you get a Mr. Lucky emoji for YouTube. Crazy. All the links in the description. In part 2, I hope to have a trailer and maybe some sort of Steam integration going, as well as all the cool new mechanics I'm working on. Thanks for watching.